join in.
That's always so loud.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Catering Customer Journey webinar. This is part 6 of the Catering Customer Journey series, part of our NCC monthly webinar that we do. We've got a couple of minutes before we get rolling, so we're going to let everybody kind of chime in and sound. As always, Abbie from New Catering Connections is here monitoring the Q&A piece. So if you have any questions, as we have throughout the program today, go ahead and ask them, interject them as we can. We'll give everybody another minute to kind of get rolling. Everyone, your mics are live. So just be cautious of that. And we'll give us another minute. We'll let everyone kind of get settled, but I wanted to get it in to make sure we get the recording started and not have any last minute tech issues here. So you have a Q&A piece here. Abbie, just kind of you said you keep that open. You want to say anything to everyone real quick as they're kind of chiming in?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everyone for joining. Like you were saying, I keep the Q&A open throughout the entire webinar. So at any point, if you have any questions, just drop them in there and I will make sure to get them answered for you by the end of the call. But excited for today's session.
All right, thank you so much. Well, it is officially 3 o'clock on the dot. I know that sometimes we run long as it is, so I will kind of go ahead and get conversation rolling here for any new folks that have not been on one of our webinars before. I think it looks like we're in the 30s now, so it looks like more and more people are coming. So as you come in, if you catch us in the middle of the sentence, don't worry. A lot of this is rehash from what we've been doing to kind of catch everyone up to speed. So if this is your first NCC webinar that you've been a part of, welcome. Thank you for being a part of it. I know a lot of our growth has come from the share feature of people sharing and getting great feedback from our previous webinars. I know Danielle's gotten emails from people. I've gotten emails from people just saying how much some of your teams have enjoyed this. So we hopefully will enjoy this one as well. So if you've been on these before, you know, but if you're new, this is part of the Catering Customer Journey. This has been a 6-month trek for Danielle and I. We are wrapping it up with part 6 today. And so just to keep you in mind, there are 6 phases of the Catering Customer Journey that we've gone through. The first one was awareness, your ability to be seen in the greater catering world, that people are aware who you are. And it's not brand awareness. This is more catering awareness. I talk to Chick-fil-A owners all the time. They say people know about us, but they didn't know we cater. Which I still find odd since they spend so much money on marketing and advertising. But there's a lot of restaurants out there that they know you, but they don't know that you cater. So the awareness is what we covered first. The second part is where is one of my biggest indigestion causers is the exploration piece, is the ability for you to be found on the internet. And I know Danielle and I have preached this until we're blue in the face. Don't put people through so many hoops just to learn about you. Don't make them have to put their firstborn child and their social security number just to see your menu with pricing. Some of those real basic things. One thing that I've learned, and one of our guests today is Hoffman, who's the co-founder and chairman of DeliverThat, is keystrokes are such a big part now of catering ordering and the ability to reduce those keystrokes. So don't make it hard to find you and don't make them jump through hoops. The third part was connection, the ability for the outbound, for you to make a connection, to do sales outreach, or their ability to connect with you. We covered that part. Then we covered commitment, which took us everything from the first connection to qualification. Then commitment took us from qualification to order placement. And then experience was the day before, the day of, and the day after delivery. And now we are at the 24 hours after delivery phase and talking about the care section. So a quick introduction for everyone that's on the call today. My name is Byron. I'm the owner and CEO of New Catering Connections. Sometimes people call us the NCC group. And then I will kind of take this around the room and let everyone do a quick introduction. So Danielle, you're next on the list. So my partner in crime. So please give everybody a 30-second elevator pitch on you and what you do.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you everyone for being here. I am the owner of Rev Gen Marketing, and basically I help restaurants generate revenue outside of their four walls. I spent a decade as a chief marketing officer for Anthony's Co-Founder Pizza, Smoky Bones, and a number of the Earl brands. And my entire time there was really focused on driving traffic into the restaurants, getting butts in seats. And as you step away from that, and I started about 3 or 4 years ago, really helping restaurants drive revenue outside of the four walls, everything from catering to virtual brands, ghost kitchens, pop-ups, working with a client right now to get them into an Amazon hub center where they feed 5,000 for lunch, 5,000 for dinner. So there's a lot of opportunity outside the four walls, and that's where I really connect with Byron, and we've been taking you on this journey. So happy to be here. Thank you.
So if you need some help, if you're at that infancy stage, or if you're just at a crossroads and you're not real sure where to go, Danny's wonderful for being able to give you some advice, some structure to get you going. So the next on our list, I'm going to let Aaron introduce himself as well. But I'm really honored and grateful that he's offered to join us. No slight to any of our prior vendors of the month, but I'm really excited to hear what Aaron has to talk about today, because we are kindred spirits in making sure that restaurants get less people with their hands in their pocket.
Absolutely. I think it's
yeah.
a pretty hot topic right now for operators. Yeah, I'm Aaron Hoffman. I'm the founder and chairman of DeliverThat. I started this company when I was 19 as an on-demand delivery business at Ohio University. Today, we've got over 40,000 delivery drivers in our network. We are a delivery management solutions business, so we're not just service, we're software plus service. We work with thousands of different brands, power tens of thousands of deliveries a week right now, delivering, 100, 200 million bucks, a month. And our mission is pretty simple for operators. We're here to make delivery profitable for you. I think for far too long, again, there has been this segmentation in the market of software and service, and they can't really coexist together. We've brought those together from a delivery standpoint, and we've made delivery, I believe, extremely profitable. So excited to be here today, Byron, and thank you for having me.
Oh, no, honored. And one of the things that as we kind of end this year, going into next year, catering is not so much about top line sales anymore. There's so much more about the profitability of catering. We all know how to go get catering. You can sign up in a marketplace. You can do all this other stuff, and you will initially get some catering. But is it good catering? Is it good for your business? And I'm really excited about some of the things you're going to talk about a little bit later. So just a quick jot up. When you go to thecateringspace.com, that's our website. And you go to the Catering Customer Journey. At the top, you will see the Vendor of the Month card for Aaron. Click on it, and you'll be able to learn more about him and his company. So if you want a little bit more details, just go there. It's going to be waiting there for at least a month, and then we'll archive it. But and then you'll always have his contact information below if you want to reach anyone at the brand over there as well. So just want you to know it's at the top of the Catering Customer Journey page, in case you need to learn more about Aaron. And then we'll ask Miss Beth to say hello. So Beth, tell us a little bit about, I know listen, Beth for us is CX1, which means she was catering expert 1, our very first hire at New Catering Connections, and probably may have been the most important one, because she's the one that kind of got the ball rolling. So go ahead, Beth.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Byron, for including me on this. It's been an awesome journey with Byron. My name is Beth Griswold. I have been in the catering field for 15 years. Before that, I had always been in sales, but my sales background now is for 15 years with catering. I've been with New Catering Connections almost 3 years. I can't believe it's been a quick 3 years. We've grown so much. I am now the director of strategic brands, where we're actually going into individual programs and really diving deeper into finding out what will work for the brand, what will work for the market to make us get as many catering sales as possible. And part of this is, one of the things is making sure that your customers are happy, and how to create that environment that they want to keep coming back to you. And so that's why I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you.
Well, and part of the reason I invited Beth here today is because Beth is probably our resident customer care specialist. She is probably the best person on our team to be able to move folks from the first order to the second order. one of the reasons we've asked her to start stepping into our major program. So if you start doing a program with us, you're going to probably have Beth and Carrie, who's our director of brand strategy as well, that are going to be playing important roles at the beginning of your relationship. When we started, we had to have a one size fits all model. But now that we have a team of 65, and I think we're working with over 1,100 restaurants now, we have so much more that we can customize that we used to. So we're pretty excited. So Beth, thank you. I'm looking forward to your insight today as we talk about care. And then Miss Abbie, just say hey since you're not on camera, and but tell them who you are so we know why that voice in the background is talking to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I cannot get my camera on, but I am here. I'm Abbie. I am Director of Communications here at New Catering Connections. I have been with the company since the beginning. We're excited to have all of you on today. Like I said before, if you weren't on at the beginning, if you have questions throughout the webinar, definitely drop them in the Q&A section, and I will make sure to get those answered for you by the end of the call.
So, yep. So Abbie and Tracy and I are, I guess, the official co-founders. So Abbie, you got to start calling yourself co-founder.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody. Today is about customer care. And so, as you know, everything we do has a kind of a pseudo space theme to it. So there's going to be 4 parts. We've got a little bit of a slide show up here that we're going to do. I'm going to do my part here. Then Danielle will go a little bit of a different direction. But there's going to be 4 components to what we talk about today. And the first one is called proactive follow-up. A lot of times, I think we believe that we don't want to know how we did. We were talking to, I think I was talking to Beth about this a couple days ago, where we're just talking about sometimes for certain locations when I used to, I knew operations might be struggling. So it was hard to say, I want to get on the phone and find out, because I always dreaded what I was going to hear. What I want to tell everyone today is it doesn't matter. Positive or negative, you need to know. And because it's, I always called it's equivalent to like a deficit. It's deficit spending for the government. If you ignore it, it grows into these huge amounts. So if you did have a problem or there is an issue, if you don't uncover it quickly, then it can grow. It can become bigger. So the client's perception is, man, that was a huge screw up, when it might have been something minor had you addressed it quickly. And so what we want to do is talk about proactive follow-up. I'm also going to cover value-added services. Then Danielle's going to cover loyalty programs and reputation building. And just kind of as an overview real quick, loyalty and rewards are not the same thing, even though they kind of get put into the same pie. So keep that in mind. We'll kind of break through what we mean by why are they different. Because loyalty is generating value in long-term relationships, whereas a reward is a gift. And it's a reward is a tactic that's part of loyalty, but they're not the same thing. So Danny, anything else, anything before we get rolling that you want to add before we kind of get cranking on this?
Nope, I'm good.
Nope. All right. So very cool. So I'm going to do my parts on the slideshow here, and then we're going to hand it off to Aaron to talk about his. But what I wanted to talk about first was proactive follow-up in the sense of what does that look like? So the thing that you hear often, and when you visit the site, when you click on these slide summaries, there's going to be a bubble that pops up that's going to give you an overview of the slide. Capture authentic feedback while the event experience is fresh in your client's mind. Immediate surveys demonstrate professionalism and provide invaluable insights for continuous improvement while showing clients that their opinion matters. So anytime relationships are involved, which is what catering is, both sides' opinions really matter here. So we want to double check and make sure that the client is happy. And if they're not happy, we want to uncover it quickly and solve for whatever they're unhappy about. You'll see the word surveys. Surveys is kind of a vague topic. Basically, you just have to ask a few questions, right? Hey, how was everything? Did we reach our goal of whatever it is you were expecting? How was the presentation? Was the driver courteous? Did you have enough food? What was the quality? You want to cover those basics of catering. So survey, it doesn't have to be a professional survey. It doesn't have to be anything overly organized. It just is a matter of reaching out and having those questions ready to ask. So ask specific questions about food quality, about service, about presentation, and then use feedback to improve operations and show clients that you listen. when you see research percentages that we have on here, a lot of these are AI generated research. They're coming from places like Harvard or MIT. Sometimes they're coming from Easy Cater. Sometimes they're coming from various sales sites. So whenever you see a percentage on here, there's some data to back it up. 83% of clients appreciate immediate follow-up communication, because without that, there is no partnership that develops. So remember, this whole point of customer care today is about getting you from order 1 to order 2. If you don't follow up within a timely manner, you're creating a much larger task of getting to order number 2. So Beth, as far as your history, what was the right timeline? I know we've got 24 to 48 hours here. When did you do the follow-up?
I would absolutely say that is the perfect timeline, 24 hours probably. You wouldn't probably necessarily want to call the day of, so I would say the next day. I think this is one of the most critical parts of building that customer satisfaction, because you can, if there is an issue, you can uncover it and you can take care of it. And instead of losing that client, you have the possibility of keeping that client because you can fix the problem. And then in addition, you can let them know if everything was good, that, you know, how much you appreciate them, how much you want to help them, you know, look for future dates and, you know, to find out when they want to place their next order. So I think this 24-hour call is probably one of the most critical parts to the whole customer satisfaction, because if you're not showing that you care within, you know, the beginning, then they're going to say out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. So Aaron, from a delivery perspective, obviously this is the final touch point that the restaurant has before the meal is consumed. What does DeliverThat offer that you can think of that would help from in other words, are there picture images taken? Yeah. Anything that can be reinforced?
Yeah, so that's just that's just a table stake. You have to have proof of delivery from a quality perspective. But I would say even more so than that, you know, understanding your guest like afterwards is so important, because from a delivery standpoint, right? Like when that guest is placing an order, they're typically not going into a restaurant to place a catering order, right? They're ordering digitally online, they're calling in. That guest is really only interacting with a delivery driver. If you think about it, like their face-to-face is only acting with a delivery driver, unless they're going to pick up the order, right? So you got to make sure from a delivery standpoint, right? Whoever's representing your brand is aligned with your brand. And for me, that is critical. It's table stakes today in quality delivery, especially when it comes down to, hey, you know, how can delivery fulfillment play a part in the satisfaction of an order, right? It's all part of the same, they call it the same feedback loop. So yeah. I'd be interested, Beth, you know, when you do have those post calls, right? Those post event calls, are you housing that information somewhere, like in a CRM? Like, are you logging it? Is it in spreadsheets? Like, what's the best methodology to make use of that information?
I mean, we keep notes in our CRM. So each client has their own account. And so we can see there, we get a notification to reach out to them 24 hours later and to do a follow-up with them. And we have those notes in there, and then we do share them with the brand manager. And I can tell you, Aaron, that delivery is a very, very big part of what our catering clients are looking at. You know, how well was the person dressed? Were they professional? How did they handle themselves? Were they polite? Did they help set up? You know, and that is a big part of, you know, creating that customer experience is the delivery part of it. So
I think
go ahead. I'm sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
I think the biggest one that I hear as well, outside of the quality pieces, were you on time? Like, were you on time to actually deliver the order? And that's where, again, it is critical to understand delivery for catering.
Well, and on the other end, people get upset if you're too early. Like,
you have this tight window to hit. You have this 15-minute, 30-minute window where you have to, again, navigate complex drop-off locations. We've all, I've done catering deliveries. It's like you try taking a catering delivery to a hospital and with no suite number, and you know, it's challenging. So, but it's so important to nail the delivery aspect.
Well, and one of the things when you're and we covered some of this earlier on the sales piece, but the ability to capture all that relevant information at the sales piece, so there are no surprises for the driver. So in other words, when you're taking an order, what's the delivery process look like? Ask those questions. Am I going in the front door? Are you forcing me through a back door? If I go to the back door, is there a line sometimes? Is there somebody waiting for me? Do I have to buzz them? All of those little things will help narrow that window of time, so your driver who's on time doesn't end up being late just because of unforeseen.
Mm-hmm.
So, Danny, one of the things I was going to ask you too was for these satisfaction surveys, because I know in marketing that's a big part of what you guys have done over the years. We talked about like a 24 to 48 hours. It's a series of questions. What is your thoughts about sending something via email or sending something in the mail or even leaving a survey behind with the delivery, maybe with a receipt in an envelope? Any thoughts on?
I think it's absolutely critical. I think it is part of the experience. I think it shows your client that you care, you want to hear, you're in partnership. You mentioned the word partnership. I mean, it truly is a partnership. And even if it's negative, I can tell you from past experience, you're going to get a 1. You're going to get a 1 star. If you nip it in the bud and you take care of that customer can come back as a 5-star lifetime loyal customer. So you started out, don't be afraid to hear the bad news. Embrace it, hear it, fix it, and move on. And some of your most loyal guests will be the ones that you made right. So I'm a big proponent of doing surveys, quick email, a follow-up letter, whatever that takes to let the client know you're here and listening.
And like any relationship, you can have a bad first date and end up being married. So understand that it's okay. If my wife and I had gone by our first date, we wouldn't have been married. But she forgave me for whatever I did wrong on that first date. And we made it. So the second part of this is personalized connection, and this is where I think that sometimes people. This is a pain point for me. Technology is for efficiency. Technology is not for effectiveness all the time. And sometimes those get mixed up. Sometimes people want to default personalized thank you messages through tech. And what I'm telling you is that people are savvy and wise enough now that they can read through that. And I would tell you to send personalized messages after the first order. Now you can get lazy down the line, but after that first order, a personalized message where you're reflecting back on the specific event. Share professional event photos to help clients relive the moment. So if you have a salesperson there, great. If your driver is taking a moment, have them say, instead of just giving me a generic shot, hey, maybe have a thumbs up on the photo or something showing it behind you. Because now you can take that back to the client and say, did this proper setup meet your expectations? What it also does is say, I know setup was important to you. How did we do? Right? Or you take some of their questions they might have on the front end as, do I have labels that are going to tell me what each item is? And you can see from a photo that those are set up. Those are the kinds of things that help to say, all these things that you told me you needed on the front end, have we achieved them? And it's almost like getting buy-in from the client to say, yes, you did a good job. Because again, we have to be in agreement for both of us. You can think you aced it. But again, if there's one piece that, you know what, they did everything right, but that but can sometimes grow. And so what we want to do is make sure that, and Beth is joking that she thought I'm trying to be funny, the but's growing, but I get it. Reference what made
The other thing it does is, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to add at one point. The other thing that does when you do follow up and they are satisfied, it opens the door, number 2, to asking for a referral or a reference or a testimonial or a case study, which is free marketing, and it's the best marketing you're going to get. So it really tees up that next conversation.
Well, and again, I have in here reference what made their event unique in your communication. So remember, this entire piece is about being a member, almost being an extension of their team. Your job as a salesperson for this restaurant is not necessarily to be somebody that just places orders for them. You want to be that kind of a value add. You want to be that an extension of their team, because as an extension, you can kind of say, I want to make you look good. And I know Beth has used that line a few thousand times of like, what can I do to make your job easier? How can we make you look good?
Especially for administrative assistants, that's huge. I mean, because if one thing goes wrong, it's not good for them. And so, making their life easier.
Yeah,
they appreciate that relationship.
think like, it's like, an office admin, right? Like it is they're the stakeholder in that office that everyone's
Mhm.
looking at, like, where's lunch, right?
Yep.
I mean, if you
Yep.
can make them look like a rock star, right,
Right.
then they're gonna love it.
Yep.
And the last piece I'll say on this is reference what made their event unique. Compliment them. In other words, say I think your meal choice was perfect for this event. I think the way you set up everything in the room was perfect. Reiterate your praising them, and I think that goes a long way. And so it's not, you're not even faking it, you're not even making it up, but you're addressing it, you're talking through it. So personal touch increases repeat bookings by 67% versus automated processes. I'm telling you, automation has a place, but it's not in the between the first and second order. If you want to, I know Mo from Monkey would always say, if you get them to the third order, you've got them as a client. You've got to get them to number 2 before you get to number 3. So keep that in mind. So the last slide here real quick on future planning, schedule check-in calls 2 to 4 weeks after successful events. So you do your 24-hour to 48-hour survey. You need to not wait longer than about 2 to 4 weeks to touch base with them again. If nothing else, you've got to be able to have a frequency of communications for a relationship to develop. You cannot wait 3 months. You cannot wait 6 months. 2 to 4 weeks is about right. Even if you just say, what feedback did you get after the last time? Just engage them in small talk and then drop in, hey, do you have anything coming up that we can assist you with? But don't wait too long, because then the relationship starts to keep from developing. And the other part of it too is, if there is ever a change in point of contact, you'd rather find out 2 to 4 weeks later than find out 3 to 6 months later, when you realize, well, they haven't ordered in a while, and then you call and your person's not there. There's always a chance to get a new relationship started if your person's not there, if you call very quickly, because the person that may be replacing may have participated in the meal, etc. So discuss upcoming occasions, offer planning assistance for recurring business events or annual celebrations. One of the things that we always would like to, we always suggest to people, send us a list of your birthdays, and I'll send a reminder to you just to say, hey, you got a birthday coming up. Have you planned your meal yet? Being their concierge in a way can really help to grow. What we do at NCC is a little hard to do that because we have a lot of brands, but if you are a catering salesperson or an owner and you really want to start owning these relationships, those are little things that really go a long way to be able to do it. Remember, there's a slide summary on each of these, but now we're going to go ahead and get into the second section real quick, which is more of the value added services. Think of things like exclusive previews, make clients feel like VIP insiders with early access to new offerings, maybe, or referral rewards. I know Beth touched on that a little bit ago, or Danny did, where you talked about getting a referral to a new potential customer, maybe another admin or another department or another person in a completely different business, but building a rewards program for that as well. Say, hey, you give me a new client, and we'll thank you with this, whatever that might be. A team extension, coordinate with other vendors and simplify their event planning process. I'll tell you, some years ago when I was at Honey Baked, we were getting ready to cater an event, and they're like, hey, do you know anyone that does customized desserts? I was like, sure. I didn't. But then I got on the phone and I found a customized dessert specialist and went over and looked at it, because it was going to be about an $8,000 order. I took the initiative to go find this vendor for them because I wanted to add value to this client. And again, value add, once you build credibility, they will call you first. Probably the biggest compliment I ever had was from a pharmaceutical rep that said, Byron, sometimes I just don't want another ham sandwich, but I know you're going to take care of me. So they would order with me. Even though they would have probably preferred had something different that day. It's about the relationship piece. And these are little ways to do that. So off-menu exclusivity. Restaurants have been doing this for years. The VIP list of people that get to order something that no one else gets to order. Sometimes you can have fun with that. So if you've got a restaurant, you want to try something a little different, providing that the brand is authorizing it. It's cool to have an item or something that's different there. And then the last one is food incentives. I think I touched on that. I had an interview with a wonderful lady yesterday, and she talked about her ability to move people from third party to first party, that she used food incentives, not so much at new Amazon dollars or other means. She just said, hey, if you transition over, I'll make sure that you always get your appetizers for free, or you'll always get your desserts for free. And it just kind of opened my mind to, you know what, food incentives might be an interesting food incentives in this scenario might be something interesting. All right. So some of the specifics on here, give clients a first look at seasonal menu options, host exclusive tastings, maybe once a year, once every 6 months for special clients, call it a VIP night. Those are little things that can add value. It maintains the relationships and grows the strengths of them over time. Offer early booking discounts on new menu items. I think you could do that on any. So any thoughts on that?
So back on the other slide, on food incentives, one thing that we see that's very successful is adding some sort of, like individual meal, like BOGOs or coupons of some kind. Because you got to think about catering as, at least it's a great opportunity for paid taste testing, right? Some of these orders are going, to people that have never tried your brand before. And if they like it, right, maybe in order to get them, coming to your actual location and ordering a single meal, that could be a food incentive, Byron, as well.
No, I agree. And Danny, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to, no, just pop in on the next slide where you were just talking about, next slide. Yep. Talking about hosting exclusive tasting events for valid customers. We're going to talk a little bit later about loyalty, but this is one of the best ways to create value for your most loyal guests. I know when we were at Anthony's, we would roll out 1 or 2 new menu items each quarter. And we always had our top guests come into the restaurant, try these before we put them on the menu. And they felt very valued and they gave us great feedback. So it's really a way to get that lifetime customer value and bring them into becoming a brand ambassador, basically for your brand.
And, we have some folks that are clients of ours. I know we've got some of our Hard Rock Cafe folks that are going to be on today, or at least hearing the message post. Bar Tacos, another one that we work with. If you've got space in your restaurants, just have a night where you section it off, invite them to come in and treat them like royalty. And I think you can do it once every 6 months, once a year. It doesn't have to be a frequent occurrence. And I think that adds a ton of value. There's one thing I wanted to touch on real quick that I missed, but it's the value added services are more about the gesture than the specific offer. We can give you 100 things that you can offer. I think the desire, though, is for you to come up with something that fits your brand, it fits your personality, and fits the personality of your clients. But it's the gesture that matters here. It's not so much the specific offer. So sometimes people want the shortcut. Oh, well, Byron said to do this, this, and that, and then it's going to work. No, it's about understanding what is it that they need, but to offer to be an extension of their team, to offer to do something a little bit special to get us from first order to second order, I think is so important. So again, if you don't see something here, but you have a really great idea, by all means, execute it. Don't go for it. There's a lot of great ideas out there, but make sure it fits what you're doing. So if you're a juice brand, or if you're a QSR, you may not have new menu items to do something. So that maybe not is right for you, but maybe there's something else. Maybe you can always include a dessert, or maybe you can always include complimentary delivery for certain clients based on. So one thing I wanted to touch on real quick before I forget, because it came up in some conversation I had yesterday. Look at your order minimums. And if you have order minimums that are 20 or higher minimum, change that. We heard a story yesterday that a company that wanted to serve an order wanted to place an order for 200 people. Their initial order was for 12 for their board, and the restaurant rejected it, saying it was a minimum of 20. And then they later went back and said, we were considering you guys, but we went another direction, and here's why. And that message kind of circulated and got back to me, and I was like, we've got to talk through that. So sometimes people do a minimum of 20 because they want a certain dollar amount or whatever. I don't know, whatever the logic is behind it. But understand that sometimes the 200-person orders start off as an order for 10. And I don't know where else I was going to input that today, but I wanted to mention that before I forgot, because that's a real life example I heard about yesterday. So again, if your minimum is 20, change it, go down to 10, please. Otherwise, you don't know what you could potentially be missing. Final thing on here. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Byron, I was just going to say, yes, that is very typical if somebody who's planning a big event is to do a small event first, just to see how it goes. And then they'll base it on that. So those little small events could lead to a lot of big events.
It's basically a 10-person sample that somebody's
Right.
buying to make
Right.
sure you're execute. And they'll evaluate your execution, your communication, your
Mhm.
ability, your delivery. They're going to evaluate all that before they make
Yep.
the decision. And honestly, if they know the holiday parties are coming up in December, this is right about the time that they're going to be testing you.
Mhm.
So please keep that in mind as well. So VIP treatment increases perceived value by 45%, because it's value is all about what do I get for what I'm spending. And if I'm getting this wonderful person who's offering to do these wonderful extra things for me that don't take a whole lot of your time, you're adding so much value. So keep that in mind. All right, a couple more things real quick, and then we'll do the handoff to Aaron. Create structured referral programs with tangible rewards. So if you are doing referral and set it up as something that you want to incorporate, have tangible rewards so they can see what they get. In other words, the first person I'll give you a $100 gift card, whatever that might be. You can come up with something, but have something that you can share, because if it becomes part of your program, they'll share it with other people just to be able to capitalize on the reward. Offer discounts or credits for successful referrals. Recognize top referrers with exclusive perks and appreciation. Referral programs generate 2 to 3x ROI on rewards invested. And then again, if you get them as a lifetime client, it's even bigger than that. So coordinate seamlessly with other vendors if you can. I've always thought if you're a catering sales manager in a restaurant over a small group, being able to coordinate with other vendors that do things you can't do. So it's liquor or desserts or something unusual. You'd be surprised how they'll refer business back to you as well. So you can kind of create your own little circle there. Simplify event planning by managing multiple service providers. If you can kind of coordinate, hey, I took care of ordering it. I took care of getting the dessert part taken care of for you. They're gonna deliver on this day. They'll have the bill for you, etc. You make their job easier. Proactively suggest complimentary services to enhance their event. If you've got ideas that you think are going to be valuable, please share them. And then off-menu exclusivity, we touched on. Offer special off-menu items for your best clients. I know of some restaurants that do that currently, and it's a huge win. If there's a certain special item or something a little unique that you don't want to do large scale, but you will do it for certain customers, it makes them feel valued. Exclusivity always does. And again, the food incentives program. Free appetizers or desserts by moving you from third party to first party. There's little things like that you can do. So keep in mind, all this is on the slides show. And then as you get a little bit further down, for now, what I want to do is let Aaron talk about his reason for being here and wanting to share. And my image is not showing up. Where is it? Hold on, I've got it showed up earlier. I'm going to move to your.
It's not, you can go back to the very main page. Yeah. And scroll down. It's on there as well.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Can you see the whole screen, or do I need to move down? Oh, sorry.
Because you were good.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So Aaron, talk to us. Yep.
Yeah. So today, I think the most value I can bring this webinar is talking about customer experience and what it means with catering. It's something that I have been hearing constantly from, 500 plus unit brands to, 100 unit brands. It doesn't matter the size. It all comes back down to experience right now. And what do I mean by experience? Well, you're trying as an operator, right? You're trying to balance the act of getting, orders from, your first party method, whether it's digital or someone's calling in, or you have a salesperson or fractional, what Byron's doing in NCC. And you're also trying to balance the act of these third parties that do have a lot of value. I mean, they do. They solved a big problem for consumers, right? They made it easy for a consumer. My wife, by example, she works at University Hospitals in Cleveland, right? She can go to one spot and see all these different menus. The problem with that, though, is when I talk about customer experience, is the brand right now on your first party channels, you can control the entire experience from the time a customer places an order to the time it gets delivered and fulfilled, and you own the data. And you can do things with that data. You can use it, like we've talked about, limited time offers, connecting more meaningful with your guest, and creating a lot of value with this customer. When it comes to the third parties, and again, you have to balance both acts here. That experience gets fragmented. It quality gets driven down. It's more expensive. You don't own the data. You cannot really connect with your guest. There's again, a very large catering marketplace that my wife has ordered from previously. I mean, she ordered from a local barbecue chain in Cleveland. She got a targeted email today from that company, that marketplace, telling her to order from a very large chain barbecue. This is what operators are up against right now. Okay. And I think it's critical to understand this, that these third-party customers, they're not your guests. So how do you balance all of this? Well, I'll tell you, the brands right now that are killing it with catering have a first party emphasis. They're trying to really understand and build out these first party offerings because it's critical. 6 months from now, 12 months from now, you're not going to go to a third party marketplace to order food. You're not going to go to DoorDash or Uber Eats. You're going to interface with ChatGPT or something else. And if you're available on those marketplaces, you can kiss your customer goodbye. You're going to be able to engage with them. It's more expensive, and you'll essentially be a production facility for these food tech companies. So that's the main point I want to get across today, Byron, is that it's not so much about delivery. I mean, yeah, we kick ass with delivery. I mean, I'm really proud of that. I mean, we're making delivery profitable across the map, for any catering transaction, whether it's first party or third party. Tailoring your brand. Again, going back to the beginning, restaurants need to understand, like, your customers, their first interaction with another human, like face to face, is with a driver, right? Why would you not want to understand and build a partnership with that driver, whether it's your own driver or it's a third party, right? Why would you not want to control and have an influence over that driver? You can't do that with third parties, unfortunately. So there needs to be this real strategy put in place. And Byron and his team are helping brands right now do that, and really flesh out this first party offering. So we put together this image for you guys, just at a very high level. There's so many more things you could put in this, right? But where is profit won and lost, right? I mean, you kind of articulated the sales piece, right? I mean, you need to be on marketplaces. It's critical. There's customers that go on there, right, that you will never have access to unless you're on these marketplaces. They're great for visibility. They're great for marketing. But when it comes to the actual transaction itself between a marketplace and your own first party offering, I mean, you're talking about losing, significant margin off the top. Optimizing your menu to travel well for delivery, to represent your brand, again, will make the experience with your guests better. Like, you don't want to do a delivery and deliver a bunch of French fries, right? I mean, Byron, if you ever got a delivery from food, it's like, why was I even offer this as a guest to get this item? Right. It doesn't travel well. So
yeah, and we talk to brands all the time, and they're more and more coming to us about menu questions specifically about that. In other words, will this travel well? Will this not travel well? What I don't understand is why there's not more practice put into that on the front end. That's a different story for a different day. But yeah, that's
and Beth, you hit on earlier, like, when you're doing that follow-up call, like, wouldn't you want to know which menu items that guest really enjoyed? Like, hey, that sandwich was incredible. Like, we should be doing more of that. Like, that'll help you tailor your offering better. And again, back to the experience of that customer. You're not going to have that ability to have that interaction on a third-party transaction.
Yeah. And Aaron, I wanted to say about the delivery. There are clients that ask specifically who is going to be delivering my order. And if it's certain delivery companies, they won't, they're like, no, that's it. So, I mean, you got to be very particular on who you are letting deliver your catering.
Yeah, we will not order from you if you deliver with X.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've been doing this since I've been 9. I've never had a real job. Okay. I've been doing this since I've been 19. I've done a lot of deliveries. I've learned this, through the process, that catering is so much different than a mealtime order. It's so much different. I wouldn't order a Honda Civic if I want to, go 400 miles an hour. Okay. Like, catering is so much different than the mealtime order, and you got to treat it that way. It's a different business. It needs different tools, different services. And you got to approach it differently. So,
well, and let me ask you a question. I'm sorry, and this is unexpected, so I don't mean to throw you. It's more of a curiosity for me. When you're working with, like, field marketing organizations, which is a bunch of them out there, so it's kind of that brand ambassador model, rent a person for a day kind of thing, where they come and blitz your trade area. A lot of times they'll get they'll negotiate getting a shirt or getting a cap or getting some sort of a branded collateral so they can go out and validate, yes, I work for this restaurant, even if it's for the day. How easy or hard, or what are the roadblocks for that for delivery? Because if you've got a third party delivery driver, but they're wearing the logoed apparel or cap of the restaurant that they're delivering for, it adds a certain level of trust to the end user versus being
Yeah.
a third party and not understanding.
Yeah, I would say you gotta, who you work with, you gotta vet them properly. The delivery fulfillment companies. I mean, you ask us, I'd say it's very easy because we directly contract our drivers, right? Like we have software plus drivers, which again allows us to essentially beat any price on the market, as well as offering very meaningful technology that adds value to operators. So from a delivery standpoint, Byron, I mean, if you ask me that question, I'd say that's easy. In fact, when when you work with us, and I'm not trying to sell DeliverThat here, but one of the points, again, back to owning the experience, is when you work with DeliverThat, you're working with an extension in your brand. For example, every single brand that works with us directly, our drivers go through an educational checks and balances. You call it training, whatever you want to call it, where they have to understand how your food is set up, how the pickup and the handoff happens, all that good stuff that goes into representing your brand. I don't know if you can get that same level of what you're saying from a different, much larger billion-dollar delivery company, right?
Yeah. Well, and one thing I would tell restaurants as we're talking about this is if you can have a visor or a ball cap or something ready for your driver and ask them to wear it, it can make a big difference in that client experience as well. And so I know visors or caps, sometimes they're not overly expensive. It may be worth spending $4 or $5 and having a dozen caps on hand in case the driver, just something to help with the appearance.
And even that, the restaurants have to understand right now, like the gig economy is just absolutely exploding right now. And your restaurant is, if you don't do self-delivery, which it's very challenging to do self-delivery, it's very expensive, which is again why companies like DeliverThat even exist in the first place. But you are competing with every other restaurant right now to get a driver engaged and excited to deliver for your brand. Like you should not give that driver a reason to not want to take your order. Meaning, are you consistently late producing the food? Like, are they waiting around at your store 15, 20, 30 minutes after? Like, that's not a good experience for a driver. They're not going to want to take your deliveries, right? Is the packaging, is it in a spot where it's like, are they getting a tray of baked beans that's wrapped up, or is it going to spill in their car and, $200-$300 of, cleaning they have to do? Are you offering that driver, we have a really good, very large sandwich shop company we work with that they'll give our drivers, BOGO car, like every pickup they have, they'll give them either a free sub or something. And like, that might cost a restaurant $2-$3. That of the value to the driver though, like they're going to want to go out of their way now and provide a great level of service for that brand, for that store. It builds the teamwork and the camaraderie. And that's how you get someone that is not your employee to be a true ambassador for your brand. It's like you treat them like a team member. So it's critical. But in the brands that are capitalizing on this, again, you can control that experience for your first party, transactions. It is very difficult right now with third party. Very, very difficult.
Well, and so one of the things, and then anything else you want to cover on the slide real quick, kind of before we moved on?
No.
I just didn't know. Nope.
No.
So one of the things I'll tell you, so many years ago, I was a general manager, and the UPS man would come through the parking lot 3-4 times a week. And anytime I saw him, I had a can of Sprite and I had a honey baked ham sandwich waiting for him. And the idea behind it was my paychecks were never late. They were always on time. It was always a priority. Again, it goes back to kind of like taking care of your drivers, hey, have you had lunch yet? Let me grab something for you. That $3 investment that we're talking about there can be all the difference between whether that order got there on time, whether it was set up correctly. That appreciation is very valuable. That's a valuable comment. That may have been the most important comment we've had today. Take it back to your teams and say, what is it that we can do to make that driver coming through feel more excited about being for us? So So Danielle, we're going to get into the loyalty programs here real quick.
Perfect.
And I don't know if this is going to come across right, but I did add a really cool transport sci-fi type transition. I don't see if it's, I don't know how that worked. Did it come through cool?
That's fine.
Anyway.
It came
All
through.
All right.
Telepathy, it came through. It came through.
Loyalty as a tool. All right.
Yes. So there are a lot of restaurants that say, we've got to get a loyalty program, and they're jumping on this loyalty bandwagon. But the ones that are using their loyalty program as a relationship tool are the ones that are driving incremental revenue and lifetime guests, right? It is more than just buy, earn, and redeem. That might boost short-term sales, but you are not building a true loyal customer. And the real loyalty happens when the guest feels seen, known, valued, heard. And that is a very difficult bond to break. It is a lot easier to walk away from a company that's just giving me a free sub versus someone who has really reached out, followed up, maintain the relationship, and ask for valuable input. So that's what we're talking about today, loyalty as a relationship building tool. We're going to talk a little bit about the emotional connection, but before, I want to give you one stat, and that is 90% of loyal guests say they are more likely to purchase again when brands understand their preferences. Notice it didn't say anything in there about getting something free. Notice their preferences, and this truly encompasses care. We care. So let's jump into some of this, how to build your connection through loyalty.
One of the things I've always heard is when when you go to a restaurant and you see somebody walk in that's a repeat customer of theirs, and they'll joke with that customer, say, "Hey, I started making your food when I saw you in the parking lot."
Right.
That's why that person eats there every week, is because they know. So it's a great point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you want to use, I'm going to skip to point 2 here because we already covered point 1. You want to use your loyalty program to recognize your best guests, their anniversaries, their preferences, their food. They want to feel valued. I'm going to give you an example. Every year my dentist sends me a birthday card. I was born in 19 blank blank, and get anything free in that card, but it's a little card that tells me all about what was invented in 1967 when I was born. So it's a nice way to just show that you care, value. It doesn't have to be something free. Right? Leverage your loyalty data. This is the best marketing and acquisition data that you can have. It is much easier to keep a guest, build a guest to a loyal guest, than go out and get a new guest. It is a lot cheaper. It's a lot easier. So you want to use this data to understand your guests. If you can separate, which now you can, we have the technology that does it, and you can see John Smith comes in and 9 times out of 10, he gets a burger, and you're coming out with a new burger. Hey, we know you love burgers. We're coming out with a new burger. We'd like to invite you in and give us a feedback. This shows the guests that you see them, you value them, you know what they like, and it really goes a long way with the guests. Turning loyal customer into advocate. This is where we talk about turning your loyal guest into a brand ambassador for you. Try first. Help us name this item. I've had my eye on this new car for quite some time, and I follow them on social, and I like and I comment, and all of a sudden yesterday I got a DM from them. Hey, we noticed you've been following us and you like what you see. We're coming out with a new car in 2026. Here's a sneak peek. Help us name the car. It's great. I thought that was absolutely fabulous. So, there are things you can do instead of just giving something free. Talking about, if you are going to give something free, give some of your top loyal guests some swag. They love it. We did that at Anthony's. It was a huge cult following, and people loved our swag. Give it away. That's free advertising for you. The other thing, very, very important to know where your guest is. There's some that do in-store, mobile app, online. You've got to make sure all of those are working together and consistently reinforcing trust across all of those channels. There's some great stats here. The one I'm going to focus on is 67% of program members are part of one or two more loyalty programs. Enrollment alone does not guarantee exclusivity loyalty. So it's doing 1% better than your competitor. One extra thing that shows that you care, that will tip that guest over into the loyalty 2, 3, 4, 5 visit category.
A lot of times people will use loyalty as a marketing tool, which is not what it's for. It's not for it. It's for, you can market with a loyalty tool, but should not ever be its number one purpose. And just to let everybody know, my year would be 1968. So I'm just saying that that's out there. Just in case
I was
everybody
about
wants
to come out.
do the
It's
math
okay.
on that one, Danny.
It's okay. So we all know that member visits 20% more frequency and 20% more spend with a loyal guest than a non-member. This is one of the reasons we say invest in your loyal guests, grow them, tailor your offers to push them into higher tiers, increasing their lifetime value. First party data. This is one of the key things about, well, Aaron touched on it. He's got access to first party data versus using a third party. That is the biggest marketing tool you have to drip and reach out to and free marketing, basically. First party data personalization via loyalty leads to boosting member spend by 16.5% year over year. So that data is critically important and you should look at it. It takes time. You've got to digest it, and then you've got to tailor your marketing accordingly. We talked about multi-channel growth. I mean, technology, you got to know where your person is and where you want to hit them. If they're ordering in store, or if they're doing catering or driving traffic, you got to know where you want to market and message them. And then really just reducing your marketing costs. This loyalty data is your marketing, a CRM tool for you to go out and regain guests cheaper and more profitable. You should really rely on it. A loyalty program can increase profits anywhere from 5 to 95%.
We have a couple things. I wanted to touch on something real quick. When I say that it's not a marketing tool, you can use it for marketing. But when Danielle's talking about maybe they're in 2 or 3 different loyalty programs. If one is highlighting my birthday or knows what my favorite menu item is, and the other one is just sending me offers constantly, I'm going to engage more in the one that acts like they know me. And so I think my point is, yes, so marketing, again, effectiveness versus efficiency, and understanding those 2 words and how they interact with each other, I think is very important here. So
absolutely.
Anyway,
absolutely. Right. And you can read these stats, but 78% of customers will visit a restaurant where they know they earn points. So it is critically important. The value add is a nice to have. Okay, keep moving on. All right. Loyalty as a communication pipeline. We've talked about target segmentation, right? You want to know your client. You want to meet them where they are. You want to know what their preferences are. If you're coming out with a new pasta dish and they know 9 out of 10 times they have pasta, let's reach out to them. Let's ask them their feedback, etc. Push an offer to them. That's the value of data. Defining your cadence, right? So occasional surprise and delight. Member only updates. We've really kind of talked about this, and then we've talked about the data. 50%, 57% of loyal guests say they get more bang for the buck. We already know that. So let's continue to market them and let's try to push them into the higher tier. And just some overall best practices. Keep your program simple, right? Keep your data personalized. Multi-channel integration, surprise and delight, communications, cadence, and exclusivity. These are all best practices as you work with your loyalty. But again, the core measure is using it as a relationship building tool. And here at the end here are just really, these are the metrics you want to look at to see if you're succeeding, right? Retention, incremental spend per visit. We all kind of already know this, but good as a reminder.
Well, one of the things as you're and we're getting ready to go to the last section here, but as you're looking for ways to reach out to people, send them a happy anniversary card on the anniversary of when they ordered with you last, or maybe you can do an 11.5-month card to say, hey, I know you in 2 weeks you had an order last year. Is that coming up again? But you can play and have fun with, hey, it's been almost a year since we first met, or something like that, and have some fun with it. Those are great ways to kind of initiate with folks as well. So we'll get into reputation building here. See if my special effect works again. Yay. All right.
Yep. There we go.
Reputation
when
building.
When you think as reputation building as a channel where you can drive revenue, this is a revenue channel for you. And a lot of restaurants do not treat it as such. But in today's restaurant landscape, this is key. It's not just about serving your guests, it's about driving revenue. Every store, every review, every online mention can influence whether a guest chooses you or a competitor down the street, right? So strong reputation not only increases your visibility, it creates powerful ripple effect, drives traffic, and you can see one store one additional star can increase your online rating sales by anywhere from 5 to 9%, that's quite a big lift. And most restaurants focus on no less than 4 stars. If you are less than a 4-star, you are leaving a lot of business on the table. So it should be 5.4 to 5 is really where you want to be. And it's something that restaurants need to hold their operators accountable to, right? The C-suite needs to look at that. And if the stars are not there, then they need to keep a scorecard. I know in the past, we've always done a general manager scorecard. And one of the things that was on there was reputation, how many stars, how many reviews, things like that.
So let's tie this back into the Big Green Monster Rockstar stat. And where does reputation building work there? How can I know you can, that's why all these little things that we talked about, like making sure your driver has a hat and making sure that you get all the directions on the front end. So the delivery process is thinner and all these things all help you to maintain that status. Because reputation now in catering, if you're overly reliant on third party, is the difference between being seen and not seen at all.
Correct.
So what is it that and this can be a little more of an open, what is it that a restaurant needs to do? Because probably one of the questions we get more than any when we're going through interviews with restaurants looking to work with us is, how can you help me maintain my rockstar status? I'm like, well, I prefer you get 75% of your business away from that. I think there's the 20 to 30% range you could do third party and maintain your margins and get some marketing value. But yeah, so what is it? How does it tie in?
So it ties in, especially if it's first party, all the things that we've talked about. Is your driver on time? Is the food on time? Are they dressed appropriately? It's about reaching out to the guests. I told you, even if there's negative feedback, make sure you are addressing it publicly. Other guests want to say, hey, they messed up. Everybody messes up. They made a mistake, but they made it right. Those are not only the guests that are if you don't do that, lose the guests that had a bad experience, you're going to lose other guests that are reading these negative reviews. So it's a dual effort. So it's critically important. I always tell clients that they should be on their social media, they should be on their emails and responding back within 24 to 48 hours. You can't just let it linger out there or not hear what they want to say. So that's critically important. The other thing is ask for reviews. When you have a great experience with a client, ask them for a review. That is the best marketing that you have. You should then blast that on your social, on your email, put it on your website. Those are ways to garner, right? The more reviews. Look, if you have 10 reviews and 3 of them are 1 star, you're doing terrible. You have 100 reviews and you have 3 bad stars, it's not going to hurt you that much. So garnering reviews, collecting reviews, publicizing reviews, critically important. The more too that you interact on Google and Yelp and all these other channels, the higher up you are going to float in search. So it's not just about making things right or making sure you're responding to the guests. It's also helping your SEO to bring you to the top of that food chain. So all of that is really critically important.
I always would say if you've got 3 bad reviews and there's 100 total, then people will say that the 3 people were the ones that were wrong. If it's 3 out of 10, their restaurant is usually by fault. So understanding the volume and how that perception plays, I agree.
Right. Absolutely. And obviously we talk about reputation, trust, all that kind of stuff comes into play. Again, we talk about ask for reviews, respond to every review, monitor across channels. And it's not just Yelp and Google, but it's also your third party channels, Uber Eats, DoorDash. Look, they'll take responsibility if it's a delivery issue, but if it's a food issue, you need to get involved and figure out how to make it right with the guests. The other thing with Google, Yelp, and Facebook, the more information you put out there, the more images you put out there, and the frequency that you change it also helps your search. So don't just go in and write your Google, who are we, and put a picture and plan to change it a year later. The more you change it weekly, monthly, you're going to float higher up into your search. So that's critically important as well.
Yeah, Byron, from my perspective, really quick, I want to make it clear to the room from my viewpoint here. Okay. If your number one focus right now for catering, if you're serious about catering and you're not making the biggest priority in your day-to-day developing a first party channel, you are going to be a production facility, because I promise you 6 months, 12 months from now, if you guys follow
100%.
the interface people are going to order from is not going to be a third party marketplace. There's a reason why Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, they're already integrating with OpenAI for this exact reason. So it is critical now more than ever for brands to start understanding their guests. And for me, for my generation, I was born in '94, by the way. Okay. I'm a little young.
Oh my God.
But,
You're the baby.
born in
Maybe Abbie might be a little younger, but you're the baby of the group.
it's almost a turnoff for me when I see a restaurant that's got like 4.9. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's like I feel like, you know, a 3.7, a 4 around that number is more of an authentic to me for my generation, because we've just been, I mean, we've just lived this, you know,
I think they're padded stats is what you're saying.
Yeah, they're 100% padded. And again, like it's important in the short term, you got to have great ratings on third-party marketplaces. But if you're serious about catering, want it to be lasting, you know, a lasting business line, you got to invest in first party. You have to.
100%. Aaron, you just nailed it. I'm working with a new client, a large new client who surprisingly does not do catering, or maybe just threw something up on Easy Cater. And I reached out and I said, hey, you know, let me help you. And she said, this is where we need your help. Get us to first party catering. So, we can pursue that conversation, but they know that they recognize where the industry is going. Third party was a great solution 5 years ago, but their ride is over. So these companies now are really saying, get me off a third party, get me onto first party. And that's where the business is going to be.
Because what it's doing is it's causing it's the secondary and tertiary effects, which is now they're cutting their sales force back. Now they're moving into a call center model. Now they're doing all these cost cutting maneuvers, when basically what the problem is they're trying to make their current third party model more profitable by gutting other things instead of addressing the real problem, which is the conversion. And the problem with conversion is I don't think it's going to be an alternate Amazon solution. I think that can be a possibility. I just don't know if that's it anymore. I think it has more to do with trust and development relationships on the with the restaurant, the reconnect. I think I've probably said this on too many posts in the past, which is they're not the third party. You are, you're the third party. The relationship is between the third party and the second party, which is the buyer. You are now the third party. You're the fulfillment center, like Aaron was referring to earlier. You're just a vendor. You're not the you're not the core. You're not the center of this. You're on the outside. And
it'll be rock star today. It'll be a higher fee later on. It just, you guys have to realize that if you're not going on first party, you are missing the boat right now.
Yeah. Well, and I think I posted on a thing this morning to say that you're one algorithm switch away from being from seen to unseen. That's too much power and too much of an impact on your sales for an algorithm to determine whether you're successful or not. That's an issue. And we're old school people, except for Aaron, on this. But I think, you know, training the staff to invite happy guests, you can do that. You can do that. You can do that with catering. That can be a big part of what you're doing. Everything we can do to make it right, then you'll get that loyalty. If you want to pull people away from third party, the best way to do it is to ensure perfection. And if you can ensure perfection, that will make it happen. So, Danny, we've got, and listen, Aaron, we usually go an hour and 15, so we still have 10 minutes to go.
We did good. No, we did good today.
All right.
No, I'm good. I'm good. There's a lot of detail in the slides, in this whole website, so people can dig in where they need.
So just a quick refresh for everyone. There's going to be a slideshow presentation. We'll leave this up if you want the high level of all the things that we talked about. Danny went into the card specifically. The 2 sections that I did also have cards. So if you want to dig a little bit deeper into why proactive matter, there's some evaluations here on you can get a 40% improvement for being proactive versus being reactive. So there's a lot of things in here that you might want to read and share. You'll even see there's tips that we've embedded. So there's so much depth in this thing. I am pretty proud of it. I wanted to look, you know, I want to keep adding to what it looked like, but there's scripts, there's templates, there's timelines. All of this is built in here. There's phone call, there's email, there's text options. All of this is built in here. So if you're looking for a script and a template and you just aren't comfortable doing it yourself, come play in here and see what you can find. I think you'll find a lot. The one thing that we always want to talk about here is that the message that we're trying to articulate is what's important here. If you can find one thing or 2 things every time we have a call that you can take away and do something with, that's what we love. That's what we want. If you can find 10, so much the better. But if you can take 1 thing or 2 things or 3 things away, and today, I think what and we can talk about it if there's a little bit different because we got a few minutes, is it's owning the client relationship, and it more deeply than just saying, okay, I know who they are and what their phone number is. That's just owning the data. We're talking about owning the relationship. What is it that you can do to interact with those folks? We have 58 brands that I think we work with. I don't even know how many clients at this point. I know the restaurant wise. I try to make an effort to reach out to a lot of our clients just to let them know that, hey, what else can we do? Where is another angle that we can support you in? And a lot of times they'll go, can you do this? I'm like, I don't know. Can we? And then I talk to Beth and say, Beth, can we? And we talk to Carrie and say, can we? And then we say, yeah, let's do it. And then we have a new program. And that a bulk of our new programs have come from client solutions that now we're just offering to other people. And so, Danny, I know you're so hands-on with your clients as well. I mean, client relationships to me are everything. And I just want to get this to the restaurant level, I guess, is where I go. So any final thoughts? And I'll go around. Beth, we'll start with you. Any final thoughts or anything you'd like to add before we run?
I mean, I think just make your clients happy and listen to what they're telling you, and you'll be successful.
Yeah, we go to Beth whenever we need some help because she's just the master of getting to the second order, unlike anything I've ever seen in my career. So we're so happy that she's a part of our team. Aaron, I'd love to give you the floor for a little while as well. And any final thoughts or anything you want to share before we go?
I just want to let operators know that, as a supplier of technology and service for this industry, like, we hear you guys. For far too long, you guys have been taken advantage of by food tech companies, and there is a rally going on behind the scenes that we hear you, and we're here to address it, and we're here to make and be a real value add to your business. Delivery, from my lens, it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to suck. It can be profitable, and it can be a true representation of your brand. And that is why I was so excited to be on this call today, Byron, because I feel like all of us share that sentiment that we hear these operators. We're here to help you guys. Just let us help.
And Danny, any thoughts? And then I'll kind of wrap up.
No, I second what Aaron just said. That's great. Great wrap up.
So the last minute I want to take here real quick, just to let you know, Aaron's actually right. We all on here know a bunch of people in the industry, and trust me, whatever you're feeling, it's universal. It's not just you. It's not sitting in your lap. There is there's fear, there's confusion, there's anxiety. I know the brands feel it. I know that there's a lot of catering sales managers out there I truly, truly respect that are stretched as thin as possible, and there's no help coming for them because of the confusion. And so it's hard to figure out what the right path is. But if you learn through all of this today, is that your relationship with your catering client is your path. It is the way through this, because as soon as you lose the relationship, you don't have any assets. There's nothing to fall back on to save you. And so catering, it used to be a nice to have. Now it's a need to have for a lot of brands. So if it is a need to have for you, figure the client relationship piece out first, not just conversion from third to first, but once I get them there, what am I offering? What am I doing for them? And so we're real passionate about this. We're going to continue to be real passionate. You know that we're fans of what you guys are doing out there. Whatever we can do to help, we're here. Sounding boards. If you want to get in touch with Aaron and aren't sure how, I know you can find him on LinkedIn, but if you'd rather me or Danielle do a personal intro for you, we're happy to do so. Beth on our team is a huge talent. She's on LinkedIn as well. Please reach out to her if you just want to chat and learn something. She's taught our team a ton. And so Miss Abbie, any questions or anybody? It looked pretty quiet when I looked.
No, we don't have any open questions in there at the moment.
So we either did a great job or we did a horrible job. I just don't know yet. So we'll find that out later. So, but thank you, everyone. I know it looked like we had anywhere from 40 to 60 on here today. I know as we get closer to the holidays, it'll be harder. We will be doing a webinar next month. We're still sorting through. It's going to be a lot of house cleaning type stuff on how to end your year and how to kick off the new year. And I'm working on a really special guest that I'm hoping will join us. But we'll have more information about that soon. Aaron, thank you so much, man. I love your engagement and I love what you're trying to do. And you have all my full support to help make it happen. So whatever you need, just let me know. All right,
Appreciate
guys,
it.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank
We love
you.
it. It's a great call, and have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you.